All right, so a couple things about polishing. Where to save money and where not to. So I used to buy these polishing pads, right? The 4-inch. These are the cheap ones from Amazon. They're like foam and plastic, and there's nothing really wrong with them. I used them for years. The problem is they are bowed and they're not perfectly flat, right? And then as they get older, they get worse and worse. So as you're trying to polish the edge of the tile and you're going up and down the tile, you have to angle you got to angle the polishing pad towards the corner of the tile to hit the corners. And what could happen is you don't get a straight polish. You polish the edges of the tile a little bit too much. And when you have an exposed edge tile, that doesn't really work, right? So what I usually do now is when I got to get one of these, I go to Floor & Decor, I get these. These are the rubber ones. I've never seen them on Amazon, but this is about, I think, like 12 bucks. It's pretty heavy. It's the rubber ones, and they sit flat. And I've been using it now for a few weeks, and it's a straight polish. So you can just go straight up and down the edge of the tile, and everything is nice and even. So that's just a little trick I wanted to share. Now, when it comes to these polishing pads, these ones, definitely get the cheap ones off Amazon. This thing is years old. I've been using this. It still works. I know it's ugly, but you get these for like $5 off Amazon. If you go to Floor & Decor or Home Depot, these things are like $30, and they're still going to rust out and wear down just the same. So these definitely just get them off Amazon. When I buy polishing pads like this, I use 60 grit. It's the most aggressive. When we go to polishing pads themselves, these are just wet. These are only wet. These take longer to use. They're good when you're getting a really fine polish and you have time to spend and you need water flowing. Okay, but now what I usually use is these. These are considered wet dry. And then you see how the pad is different. It's almost like little sections of just straight up sandpaper. And these work great. I never use any water with them. These are the wet ones, right? So I got, I think it's like 50, 100, and 200. And those things are great. They eat right through the tile. Usually I use 100 when I'm just polishing the edge of the tile to like maybe do the tile down to the floor. A cut edge that you will see that's not right in your face. I'll just go 100 up and down it, really smooth it out. That's good. So yeah, these I get off Amazon. I definitely like the wet and dry over just the wet. And then one last thing is your polishers, right? Originally, I used to use the Makita plugin, right? The Makita with the cord. I still do. That's my go-to. That's the most powerful, smoothest cut. But this gets more use. This is just the battery grinder, okay? And I got the variable speed. I figured, oh, variable speed, I could polish with it too. And you can, right? You can. But when you get down to your finer grits, like 600 and above, this at the lowest setting still spins too fast. You end up burning the tile edge a little bit, and you get the color up the edge of the tile as you're polishing. It's because it's creating too much heat because your pad's moving too fast. So look, if you have to get only one tool, go right ahead and get a variable speed grinder, and then, you crank it up for cutting tile. It's fine. But, I recently invested in just a straight up polisher. I'm going to be taking this handle off. There's no point to have that on there. But this really gets down low. It gets down to 800 RPMs, and that's slow speed. It's really good. You could go up, 1200, 2000 with that is fine. I'll show you low speed on the grinder. That's low speed. That's still pretty fast, When I crank it up. So that's a lot different, This is a good polisher. Usually, actually, what I do is I set it up on its handle and lock the button like that, and then I can just take my tile and go across it when I have a pad on. So it's kind of my setup for polishing tile, right? But yeah, so definitely, if I could give you one piece of advice when it comes to getting the 4-inch polishing disc, spend money on this, get a solid rubber one, heavy duty, because you want them to sit flat. All right, guys, take care.